My project is titled Restoring Ashi, Reviving Tulare Lake Hydrology and Ecology. Tulare Lake, or Ashi, to the Tachi and Yokutt, was once the largest freshwater lake west of the Mississippi. In just over a century, canals, groundwater, overdraft, and land reclamation erased this flood pulse wetland, turning it into one of the most intensely farmed regions in California. Then, in 2023, heavy atmospheric rivers refilled parts of the historic lake bed, thus reviving an old argument. Should we protect farms or let the lake return? My central question asks, how can restoring Tulare Lake to its natural freshwater state mitigate flood risk, enhance ecological health, and address the stakeholders' interest? The basin sits on ancestral land of the Yokutts, specifically the Tachi, Wool, and Chunut tribes, whose stewardship of this wetland shaped its ecosystems. By the 20th century, water diversions and pumping caused massive subsidence and salinization. These changes left the region more vulnerable to flooding and water contamination, showing that drainage did not erase the lake, only buried it beneath a crisis. To study this, back in my community college days, I used satellite imagery to indicate and detect the surface water. In the 1877, hull map was digitized and georeferenced in ArcGIS PO, then compared to the April 21st, 2023 imagery. The results show that roughly 14% of the lake's historical area briefly reflooded, concentrating the same depressions where land has sunk from over-pumping. This shows how hydrology and human activity are still linked, and also how the lake will always find its way back. My research analysis showed that land subsidence has created natural flood basins that now trap water during wet years, increasing flood risk to surrounding farms. The ABCCSAL framework, Agriculture Basin Closure and Salinization, explains how importing irrigation water but blocking outflow has led to salt buildup in groundwater. Yet there is also potential. Seasonal floodplain wetlands can restore water, recharge aquifers, and support wildlife. By introducing controlled wetland mosaics and managing water with ecological intent, Ashi could become a system of resilience rather than a continued risk. Often, the conversation is framed as farm versus lake, but that is a false choice that we do not have to continue. The main stakeholders are the Tachi Yokutt tribe, local farmers, water agencies, conservation groups, and the rural communities. And they all depend on the water, land, and stability. Co-management can all unite them. Restoring sections of the lake bed as seasonal wetlands while cultivating higher ground with native plants like goosefoot, cattail, and wild rye can regenerate soil, feed communities, and restore biodiversity. These native species follow the lake's natural rhythm, showing that both farm and lake can coexist as one living system. In conclusion, restoring Ashi as a seasonal freshwater system can reduce flood risk, recharge groundwater, and revive ecosystems that once defined the Great Central Valley. Hydrologically, distributed storage mitigates flood peaks. Ecologically, wetlands rebuild food webs and even restore local climates. Socially, co-management with the Tachi Yokutt reconnects stewardship and justice. Ashi is not gone. Reviving this lake is about learning from what the land remembers and restoring balance between water, people, and place. This is an excerpt from an 1877 irrigation map, a map depicting two islands on the southern portion of Tulare Lake, corresponding to Atwill's Island and Bird Island. This map also depicts about three islands. One is Root Island, the middle one is Bird Island, and the one on the left is Pelican Islands. This picture is the lake returned near Sand Ridge, taken east of Alpal, California, and the date was June 26, 2023. This is aerial image of Tulare Lake in July 2023. And this is the ruins of a steamboat landing on the west shore of Tulare Lake where Mayfield and Orton ran hogs in 1852. El Camino Viejo is the foreground. The Van Buckner family is seen on the left. And that doesn't really look like a horse to me. And I also think it's insane that there used to be boats on Tulare Lake, and they used to go all the way down to Sacramento to SF and also back up. So beautiful. We didn't have to rely on cars because they were just going by the water. And this picture is in Kings County, Westing Wheat, near Tulare Lake. Crazy how many horses they use. It's like there had to be feeding the horses. Like, how sustainable was this system of growing the food for the horses and using the horses? And that's a lot of horses. And this right here is a map showing the Tulare Basin in Central California. The solid blue is perennial streams, the dashed blue is seasonal streams, the dashed light blue is man-made aqueducts, and the beige is the dry lake beds. So it gives you a really good picture of Tulare Lake and its connections and how it's being diverted. Very pretty. And the video that plays next is a video I took on June 8th, 2023, and I was on an Amtrak and passing by Tulare Lake and around Corcoran area, Corcoran, Lemoore, and Tulare. So very pretty. You see, I'll notice the algae on the outside. And right there at the end, there's some birds. It's already supporting.